There's so many examples of mentally tough people, but they're usually Navy SEALs or elite athletes, which means they're usually men. And while there are plenty of examples out there of strong women, I think we don't talk about them enough. We know that women can tend to engage in these unhealthy habits, partly because of society's pressures and the cultural tendencies that we have for women to do certain things. We raise little girls slightly differently than we raise boys. What are the bad habits that women are engaging in and that are holding them back? It's really important for women to support one another in the workplace. Sometimes our tendency is to say things like, well, I'm not like other women, because it's a great way to separate yourself from the pack, or perhaps to try to include yourself in the network of men. But when we do that, we set all women back. It's important to support one another, to lift each other up, and to really engage. One thing we know for sure, too, is that women often don't speak up as much in business meetings as men do. The statistics say it's something like women speak 75% less. And it's not necessarily that women are more efficient, so they need fewer words, it's that their voices aren't being heard. So it can be really important for business leaders to call on women, to ask for their opinion, and to invite them to talk. And then as women who are participating in the meeting, to speak up, find your voice, be willing to share your opinion, tell people your ideas, maybe make it a goal to speak up at least once during every meeting you attend. Self-doubt is something that we all struggle with, but it's easy to look around and think everyone else feels confident besides me. So you might talk yourself out of volunteering for a new position, or you might convince yourself not to give a presentation. It's really important to just embrace your self-doubt. In fact, studies will show that when you have a little bit of self-doubt, you'll actually perform better than if you were overconfident. So you don't have to wait to eliminate all self-doubt. Just know, okay, just because I'm not 100% confident doesn't mean I can't move forward. Go for it anyway. A lot of people tend to confuse perfectionism with high expectations. High expectations are actually a really good thing. When you set the bar high, you'll try to meet it. You'll put in more effort, you'll have a better attitude, and you're more likely to meet your goal. When you're a perfectionist, however, it backfires. You won't likely try new things because you'll be afraid that you'll fail. Or you'll have trouble getting anything done because it'll never be good enough. If you tend to be more on the end of perfectionism, it's important to cut yourself some slack. Give yourself a break. You might write a kind letter to yourself to read over and over again. That would remind you that you don't have to be perfect. And when you make a mistake, that's okay. Speak to yourself like you might talk to a friend. Use kinder words, because harsh self-criticism will only hold you back and keep you stuck. Mentally strong people are able to set boundaries. Sometimes you can cut people out of your life if they are taking a negative toll on you, but you can't always do that if it's your boss or your coworker. So then it's important to set emotional boundaries. Decide that nobody else is in charge of how you think, feel, or behave besides you. So you might decide that rather than dreading a meeting that you're going to have for 2 hours and then after the meeting spend 2 more hours wishing it hadn't happened, decide that you're only going to think about that person when you have to think about them, when they're right there in front of you. If you say, my boss makes me feel bad about myself, you give that person power over your life. Decide that you're going to be in control of how you feel about yourself, how you think about yourself, and the choices that you make. If you're facing some type of crisis in your life and you want to stay mentally strong, it's important to sometimes just take a deep breath and remind yourself that you have to get through it. Sometimes the only way to get through tough emotions is to feel them and to just get through it. So allow yourself to be sad, but just remember that that doesn't have to allow you to engage in self-pity. It's okay to be angry, you just want to make sure that you don't end up blowing up at people or saying things that you regret. So let yourself feel those things and then remind yourself of healthy thoughts. Maybe you keep telling yourself, I can get through this. Remind yourself of tough times you've been through before. Get social support, talk to friends, talk to people who care to really help you get through the toughest times in your life. So if you had to pick just one thing not to do, don't feel sorry for yourself, because hosting your own pity party keeps you stuck and it makes it really hard to live the kind of life that you want to create for yourself.